Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to my life. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to my life. Today we are on focus on America again. We're going to talk about America again today. And how are you all doing? I hope everybody is doing fine. It's been a long weekend here in the Philippines. Yesterday was a holiday, so I was out by the beach. I'm sure everybody must have seen that live video I took by the beach in the Philippines, Leyte province in Tanawan. Tanawan is very next to Tacloban in the Philippines. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. I hope everybody is doing good. Welcome to the live. Leave a comment. Let me know if you're joining and where you're joining from. We didn't go live yesterday. We will be going live only 3 times a week right now. I'll be doing focus in Asia, focus in America, and then focus in Africa. These are the main three parts that I'm very, very interested in. And mostly we'll be talking about dealing with social issues. I'm very interested in social issues, not political issues, even though political issues sometimes uh, affect social issues, but we'll be dealing with social issues more. They're all chained up. It's like an ecosystem. One cannot go without another. Political issues, social issues go together. So, welcome. Let me know where you're watching from. Leave a comment. And thank you for joining. I'm back. I'm live. And hello, welcome, Uncle Ned. Welcome, Uncle Ned, to the live.
Have you just started?
Yeah, we are live. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. How's everything there?
All is good. All is good. We are just starting, and thank you for joining us. Today, we are going to be focusing on America, and it's very important that you join because, there's nothing I can talk about America without you. So I definitely need you and Lawrence to be here. You're highly welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. So, what in America are you going to talk about today?
Okay, before we start, I would just like to shout out to some people that may be watching us today, and they're very influential and they have been very supportive to the channel. So I want to first of all shout out to Juju of Leyte. Juju, if you're watching, that's Julian. I hope you're watching. I want to shout out to Uncle Ned himself. He's been the backbone of this channel, coordinating everything. So, and thank you for watching. Thank you for being the backbone, and welcome to the channel once more. I want to shout out to Barney. Barney is my best friend, and he's the man behind the scenes. Shout out to my brother, Derek. He's the guy that will be anchoring Focus on Africa. So I'll be bringing him on Monday. That's Focus on Africa will be on Monday, where we'll discuss African issues and he will enlighten us on what is going on the ground. It's always good to hear from people on the ground. And then shout out to Lawrence. I hope he is going to join me very soon. And his lovely girlfriend, Uncle Ned, and his lovely wife. The black man in the village, Mr. Wheel. Shout out to you. Shout out to everybody watching right now. Funky Mong in Australia. Shout out to you, bro. You are very supportive. Shout out to everybody who is watching right now, and thank you for joining. So we will just dive into the topic of today, which is about the social issues in America. Okay, the first thing is The first thing we are going to be talking about is immigration enforcement driving national debate. The immigration issues, because this is a big issue right now in America. Okay, the first thing, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, the first thing we'll be talking about is the immigration enforcement driving national debate in America. So it's not only an American thing, but it's become a big issue because now is the second week that American plane is landing in Cameroon and deporting people to the Cameroon to the country of Cameroon, and these people are not Cameroonians. So the immigration issue is becoming very big. What can you say about this? What is happening? Like Cameroonians are confused why Trump, let me just call his name because he's the one doing this. Trump will be deporting people that are not Cameroonians to Cameroon. How are these people going to survive? Or is he sending them to die? Or what is going on?
Now, I think from what I'm seeing it, now I'm an American that left there because of the turmoil. I'm sitting here in the Philippines, and I'm also watching what's going on in Africa. Now,
Right,
I
right,
think I don't know. Maybe someone there can correct me, but you've got a questionable president in Cameroon that may be illegitimately elected, sitting as president.
right.
Now, he needs backing to stay in power because many forces there do not want him there. He's old, he's been in power for decades and all. So he's probably making a deal with Trump for backing.
Right,
I will take
right.
your illegitimate deportees into my
Hmm.
country as
Right,
long as you will help me stay in power if forces overwhelm me and Cameroon. These are the
exactly.
kind of deals that these dictators make. One dictator helps another dictator. And I think this is the situation going on in Cameroon and the United States.
Right. This is serious. This is
Yeah.
serious. So I've seen like there are okay, there are a lot of protests in the state, in the streets in America. There are court cases, economic discussions about this uh, ICE, immigration, deportation. There are a lot of problems, a lot of issues on this matter. What is happening? How can you? I mean, what are the people saying in America?
Well, I think America is split. There are people on a lot of different sides. You know, America is a big country with a lot of land and about 300 million people. So you're going to have a lot of different opinions. But basically, there are two strong opinions. One
Right.
is what we call the blue side, the Democrats, the liberals, and the other is the red side, the conservatives, white
Hmm.
nationalists, and so forth. Both want to take over, but both answer to the wealth class, which is the money. We've got
Right.
some greedy people in America who are not happy having 20 billion, 50 billion, $100 billion. They want to see who's the first one to get to $1 trillion. You know, for
Hmm.
them, it's a game. They don't care about hoarding. The more money is hoarded by a few people, the less
Hmm.
the people at the bottom have. There's only so much money to go around. So if you have 80% of it, the most I can have is 20%, and I've got to split that 20% among 200 million people. So it's very thin. You have a lot of people in America now
Hmm.
living uh, on the street, living in their car, in their van, in their trucks. A lot of people on the brink of homelessness, a lot of people not eating well, and a lot of people even dying because if you get sick now and you don't have the money, um, they're not going to give you credit. It's either
Right.
pay or die. So it's a
Right.
lot of bad things going on in America, but the American people have been misled for so long by the media, by marketing, by propaganda, by arrogance, that they can no longer function and think independently. They believe whatever the news show that they watch, CNN, Fox, Al Jazeera, whatever, it comes from outside of their head, their
Hmm.
thoughts, their
That's true.
beliefs.
Hmm.
And when you're like that, you can easily be led. Right now, we have a country in America where the people follow celebrities. There are people that would fight and die for P. Diddy, that would fight and die for Trump. He's the apprentice. You know, they have no individual thought process anymore to use reasoning skills. And so they're easily misled down the wrong path. It's just a
That's
sad
true.
state. And I believe it's a final state before the end of a great power.
Hmm. You just touched a point right there, and I just wanted to ask about P Diddy. What was his case? Is it what was his case?
His case was just basically about trapping. He's done something similar to, I guess, what Epstein has done. You
Hmm.
get a person that has lust and greed in their heart, and you tell them, you're going to get a good recording contract. I've got these women and whatever it is, these drugs, whatever it is that you're addicted to or desiring to have. And
Mm.
that's fake. And then he's got cameras all over his compound. So whatever you
Right.
do with anyone, now I've got a video and audio of you. Now I own you, because if I release this video or audio, you've done things that you never want the daylight to see. So
Yes.
now you go along with what his ideas are. And then you get more and more compromise as it goes. So
That's
basically,
true.
he did it all. Similar to Epstein was blackmailing all of the politicians and powerful people, to where he had so many tapes and videos and cameras and everything on them. And they did so many things that it would ruin them if society ever found out. So they have to make a choice. And the choice
Uh,
is to go along with whatever Jeffrey Epstein or P. Diddy wanted.
exactly. Oh my God. So how about the Epstein case? Is he in jail? What about him?
Jeffrey Epstein supposedly committed suicide, but
Oh,
it's,
supposedly.
well, it is now saying that the body has not been recovered. Until they can show the American people the actual dead body, we don't know what happened. We're just
Hmm.
told he committed suicide, that there was somebody that was taken to the morgue and examined, but there are no pictures, there's no evidence, there's no proof. There's just a, a world of powerful people saying this is what occurred.
So they're just using the old trick of
Yes,
suicide, and then that's it.
smoke and mirrors, and no actual proof of independent verification.
Right, right. So you just talk on that issue, and it's very important. So what do you think is the way forward for America right now? Because as the reason why I'm asking this is, even though all these things are going on, and America doesn't seem to realize that the world is moving away from them, because the world used to be centered around the dollar and the American power. I mean, the BRIC is coming up. You know what is BRICS, right?
Yes,
It's being led by China and Russia, and a lot of African countries are following their footsteps, like South Africa, which is a major economy in Africa, is joining BRICS, and a lot of African countries are joining. Not only that, Brazil is joining BRICS. So these are major countries in major continents that are going in to join BRICS. It means what is happening? What do you think is the future?
Well, you've got a situation where no power has ever come into power and stayed in power forever. The
Hmm.
greatest power, Great Britain, they came and they're gone. They're nobody today.
Right.
Spain was a great power, came and gone. France, there have been many great powers that have come and gone, and America is just the latest. America is in one of its final stages before it is also gone. There are two
Right.
competing situations going on right now. You mentioned BRICS. Um, BRICS is the challenger to the system we have today with the SWIFT money system, fiat money, and so forth. Well, BRICS is going the other way because BRICS has the youth, the population, and the resources and the technology. None of those things are no longer dominant in the West.
Okay, let me just pause you there. We have a comment in the comment section. Luis Brain Fernandez, welcome and shout out to you, Luis. Luis says, same as USA, they came and will be gone soon. So Luis
Yes,
believes that USA will be gone soon, like the empire of USA is going down. Is that true? Do you think that's true?
I definitely believe that. Definitely. I mean, they point to all the stages. There's a 5 stage to collapse. We're in stage 4 on the edge of stage 5. Um,
Right.
we've got internal problems. We've got debt larger than we could ever pay off. We're
Right.
losing market share in agriculture, technology. The only thing that we have right now that's questionably still the best is our U.S. military. Having
Mm,
served 20 years in the Marines on active duty, I don't
right.
believe our military is half as good as the world thinks it is. I
Yeah,
think it is no.
I was
Uh,
going to ask you a question about that working in the military for some time. Just go on. I will follow up with the question later. Just go on.
okay, yeah. China has advanced in many different ways. Like, take for example, our Navy aircraft carriers. At one time, if an aircraft carrier sat off the coast of your country, you were in big trouble and you should be shook, shaken, and afraid. That's no longer the case today because they
Right.
have things that can take care of aircraft carriers in a very quick, efficient way. So
Mm-hmm.
it was once cutting edge. It is no longer cutting edge. It is not
Mm.
the decisive uh, technology that's going to overwhelm and win battles. I mean,
Okay.
it was, yeah. So the world is changing. The world is moving on, and
Mm.
uh, like in basketball, it was almost guaranteed that America would always win the gold medal in basketball, right?
Right.
But other countries
Right.
caught up, and now sometimes we don't win the gold, and that's the same
Right.
thing with the military. We're not always going to win, and I would say we haven't won a battle in over 50 years, other than
That's
against small, insignificant countries.
that's shocking because when I grew up knowing that America was the most powerful country. If America is going to attack any country, that country is going down for sure. But looking back now to history, what happened in Vietnam? What happened in
Yes,
Vietnam? Even Somalia. I mean, they didn't actually came out victorious in those cases. You know,
that's
they
right.
battled and they suffered a lot of losses. Even we cannot even say they. Even with Iran, they are threatening Iran, but I think there's a little bit of distance to getting into Iran because they know the damages will be higher on America than in Iran. Let me just read the comments in the comment section before we continue. So, Luis says Asia is the powerhouse, the hidden powerhouse always. Keep silent and don't involve in problems. So he says the main point there is Asia is the powerhouse. Do you all know why Russia has not aircraft carrier? They know aircraft carrier can be destroyed by submarine. Russia has massive submarines. Now, let's not go to Russia first. Let's go to Asia being the powerhouse. So you said that things are changing like a basketball. Do you think that the power is shifting to Asia this time around, or what?
For sure.
Where do you think? Yeah, where do you think the power is going to?
For sure. The first thing you got to understand is India and China are both Asia. China has 1.5 billion and India has about 1.5 billion or somewhere around those numbers. That is 1, 2, 3 billion. There's only 7 billion people on earth. So that's
Right.
almost half right there. Now,
Mm.
Africa has 1.5 billion.
Yeah,
Africa is leaning towards BRICS. So
yeah.
if
Africa
Africa
is
goes in
basically
with
with Russia.
BRICS, that's
Hmm.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, you're done. You got
That's
more than half. Now,
that's
where's
five
the latest?
billion. That would be 5 billion of the 8 billion people.
Yeah, who has the youngest people on Earth right now? Africa. Who's next in line for youth? Asia. Who's got the oldest people? Europe, America, Canada. They all want Filipino nurses because their population needs geriatric care. They're old. Europe is shrinking. When people think of Europe, you look at some place like Germany, there are only like 30 million people there. All right.
Right.
America's only 300 million. China by itself is 1.5 billion. So 5, 10 times bigger. So there's a lot going on here that tells you that the Chinese are right now the industrial drivers of what's happening in the world. But Africa is still the provider of all the minerals and rare earth and things that we need in the future that's going to drive the future. These things
Right.
are not being found in Europe. Europe has little to no mineral resources, and without Africa, most of Europe is nothing, will dry up. When you talk about the best chocolate in the world, is coming from Switzerland and Sweden and Europe, but they don't grow the
Right.
cocoa bean. It's grown
Right.
in Africa in warm places. So what happens when they take their resources back and they do it themselves?
Africa actually talking about chocolate. Uh, the best chocolate. It used to come from Sweden, but just recently I was home and there are more than 15 brands, new brands of chocolate being produced in Cameroon alone. Not to talk of Ghana, which has become one of the booming economy in Africa with setting up their industries. Industrialization is taking over Ghana right now. And one
Yes.
other thing that I discovered is in West Africa, if it's very common now to walk in West Africa and meet somebody, and then they will tell you, I'm from the state. Hey, I'm African American. Like before, it's something that I have never noticed in Africa. But now, I think I can tell you that a million African Americans have visited West Africa. I mean Africa as of now, more than a million. That is, we may think that is small, but that is a big number because that million will spread the news. And then once they know that actually Africa is not what they used to think it is, they will be moving there in their numbers. A lot of people are already setting up companies. I know a lot of I know somebody that sold her clinic in was it California, and set up a new one in Ghana, and then she is fine. She's enjoying her life there. Okay, let me just read a comment in the comment section. I'll get back to you very soon. People are running away from Europe to Asia. Okay, Luis Brian Fernandez says people are running away from Europe to Asia. That's true. Mostly people who are retired don't want to live there because nobody wants to live under that kind of a situation. So I've seen a lot of retired people really enjoying their lives in Asia, which is a good thing. Things are getting so expensive in Europe. How much is butter in your country compared to Asia? So what do you think? Luis says that people are leaving Europe and I would say Europe and America. So that's the West. I would just say the West. People are leaving the West to Asia. What is your
Yeah,
take on that?
yeah, I believe that because I came to the Philippines or to Asia in 1979.
Mm,
Back then, it was rare to see, other than businessmen and some teachers and some religious people, a few Westerners. But now the people I run into are not businessmen, are not
right.
teachers, and not religion, but they are young people looking for a better life. And I'm seeing them from a lot of different countries. And you can't look at a person now and tell where they're from because you may see a black person in Asia. That doesn't mean he's from America. He could be from England. He could be from the West Indies. He could be from the Caribbean. He could be from anywhere. Same thing with whites. I meet some, and some are from Australia, Canada, Europe, America. They're from all over the West. And they're coming in
Right.
droves because this is cheaper, this is younger, and this has opportunities. The problem is,
Mhm.
if you're young and you come to Asia, you have to come with money because there are no jobs here that are going to pay you enough money to live the kind of life you live in the West. The pay here is very low compared to the West. So, and a lot of these countries don't want you coming looking for a job. They want you here not looking as a job because they're trying to give jobs to their people. They want you here as a retired person, bringing that money, that knowledge and technology to their country to live that would benefit them.
To invest, yeah, like investors. They
Invest. They
welcome
want
more
you
investors.
to invest, to bring something to the table because I'm letting you into my home for free. What are you
Right.
giving me? What benefit is it for me for you to come here?
Right. That's true. That's true. Yeah, I just wanted us to go back to the USA for a while and talk about ICE. First of all, what is ICE and what's their mission? Because recently I see it's not only, I used to think it's a race thing, like they are against the colored people. But even the white people are suffering. They just killed a white woman a week ago or 2 weeks ago. A full blown woman was shot dead, you know?
Yeah,
And
but ICE stands for Immigration and Customs Enforcement.
mm,
Okay, and so they've got some border patrol in there. They've got a little bit of everything, but ICE today is not doing what it was invented or funded to do. It has become
right,
a personal political attack dog
right,
of Trump. And
exactly.
so they are now a bunch of bandits. They are the bad boys, the oath keepers, uh, all the Jan 6 people that were released from prison by pardon. They are all these criminals. That's why they cover their face. Because if
Oh,
they show their face, people will be able to identify them and say, because nowadays, once I get your face on a camera, somebody can say, I know who that guy is. I know where he lives, his name, his address, everything. I know
yes,
him. So they're covering their face because people will say, Isn't that the guy from the Oath Keepers? Isn't that the guy from the Proud Boys?
Mm,
They don't want to be exposed, and that's why when they pass the law right now in Congress, they're saying ICE cannot get any more funds to continue work until they agree no mask. They're
right.
not going to agree to that. So there's a government shutdown in place right now. We're like in day 6 or 7 or something like that of a government
Mm,
shutdown because Trump does not want to agree to unmask ICE. Because once he
mm.
does, his game is over. They have to keep their mask.
Yeah, my question is only criminals do put on masks. If you are not a criminal, you are not hiding your face. But how can people be enforcers, like enforcing the law and then hiding their face? You know, it means that they are out to commit atrocity. They are out to commit. They are terrorizing the people because people are scared of ICE. Even
Not
the people
well,
that are born and bred in America, I see a lot of newsfeed and I see a lot of complaints. I read the news every day and I see a lot of people are complaining, like, I'm not safe. I have to uh, go get my passport, go get all my documents ready, and then I have to go out with all my documents. Like, you cannot be living in your country and you're going out with a bunch of documents just to prove that you are born American.
right. And that's a shame that the people didn't stop this sooner. But, the propaganda that we've been fed as Americans over the last 100 years that we're the best, we're the greatest, we invented everything, we're the smartest, only our Constitution is real and legitimate, we're saving the world, we're the world police. All of this nonsense was nothing more than false propaganda. We were never the world police. No one ever elected us or asked us to go into Vietnam and save them from communism. Nobody ever
Hmm.
asked us to come and feed my people. We caused the problem, and then we said, "Oh, we can fix it." And then we took credit
Hmm.
of being this great thing that we never were. We've been bandits for quite some time, and right now, ICE is doing to all Americans what law enforcement has been doing to non-white Americans since the beginning of America. So
Wow.
nothing has changed for black people. It is the same illegal bandits now shooting white people that have always shot and killed and murdered black people. Blacks
Exactly.
are sitting this out and not getting involved because they're saying, you didn't understand this when we told you for the last 50 years that this was going on, that this was happening. But now that it's happening to you, you want us to join in and help you. Where were you when they put dogs on Martin Luther King for just marching for equal work, equal pay? You
Yeah.
know, where were you when the Black Panthers were being murdered, killed, and disassembled? There were so
Hmm.
many things that went on illegally in America to blacks and brown people for so long
Hmm.
that we're now saying you need to experience this so that you understand before you can ask me to be your partner in this fight against ICE. You need to go out there and see what it's truly like to be a black American in America. And when they shot that woman in the face and they shot the male nurse and killed him
Hmm.
because they said he might have been holding a gun when he had his cell phone in his hand. All of these
Hmm.
lies they told on him, they've been doing this to black Americans forever.
Okay, let me cut you a little bit there and welcome Jojo. Jojo, welcome and thank you for joining us. And Luis Brian Fernandez says, you don't like Trump. Luis, nobody hates Trump, but I think that they hate his actions. Nobody hates another human being, but I think Americans as a whole don't like his actions. What he's doing to Americans is not good. So that's why you see massive protests on the road. If he was a good president doing the right thing and leading the country in the right way, probably you will not see mass protests and then all these uprising. So he's doing something. I think he's helping to open up the eyes of a lot of Americans that thought America was the dream world and the safe havens. So it's time for Americans to open their eyes and turn to other places to see that it's not the safe havens they used to think it was. Talking about safe havens, I just want to ask Jojo to step in here because he's a young expert that is living in Asia, in the Philippines, and he knows more about safe havens in America or in Philippines. Just Juju, just tell us a little bit about. Do you think Philippines is safe haven than USA, or USA is still the safe havens we used to think when we were growing up?
Okay, Ned and Ed. Nice to see you both.
Good.
Good evening. Um,
Welcome, bro.
Also, I want to start off with wishing well, not wishing, but hoping for everybody to have a safe, prayerful Lent on this Ash Wednesday. A lot of people listening in.
Hmm.
Um, in terms of the Philippines being a safe haven, um, I can't necessarily use that type of like descriptor. You get what I mean?
Right.
Um, would I rather be here than be home? Of course.
Mm.
Um, because I like Ned, I grew up in the city,
Mm.
and so I never really truly like felt safe in the city. Literally, I'm always looking behind my back. You know what I
Mm.
mean?
Mm.
Yeah.
Or if I got my car parked, I'm checking out the windows every 5 seconds. I'm looking at the rear view every 5 seconds. You know what I mean?
My goodness.
Um, but yeah, I definitely would rather be here. My mom actually, I was talking to her earlier, and she was like, "Man, I wish you were back home. I miss you." Da da da. And I'm like, I would come home if I could, but that doesn't necessarily entail living home. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Um, Too high rent, too high food costs, too high everything costs, really. And yeah, until like the economy changed or like jobs opened up that I was interested in, or even if I just picked up another skill, which I probably will if I go home, I'll pick up something else like trucking or plumbing or something. I don't know
Mm.
if I would necessarily want to be home right now.
Mm.
I can agree with that. I can see where he's coming from. Because I know you're talking about Baltimore, I'm talking about Brooklyn. So they're not that much different, and they're both on the East Coast. So I can definitely relate to that.
Yeah, talking about being safe. I like to ask Uncle Ned about being safe because last time you mentioned to me that you once was going to bed with an M16 or M15. I don't know. I've never used a gun before, so I don't know any caliber of guns in my life. But why would somebody be going to bed with an M16 beside his bed?
Yeah, that's a good question. Let me go back. I've been back here now. I said already that I came here, been in and out of the Philippines since 1979, but just recently came back to the Philippines. I've only been back here about 6, 7 months. I was living in South Carolina, which is in the U.S. terminology, a red state, a conservative state, a state with a large racist background. Yes, it's a beautiful place, and I was safe there and living well. But once Trump got elected, the whole temperature, the whole attitude of the people changed. It was as though they were told, we are free now to do whatever we want because our chosen king has told us we're back to the 1920s where um, whites are superior, whites are in charge, and we're taking our country back. When you get into an atmosphere like that, and there's people that are threatening to come on your property at night and burn a cross or do harm to your family, you have to make a decision. Am
Right.
I going to just take this? Am I going to prepare for that day you make the mistake and come to my property in a violent way?
Exactly.
I, like I said, I did 20 years in the Marines. I shot all sorts of weapons, and I could blindfold myself and take my M16 apart, put it together, load it, unload it, fix it,
Mm.
unjam it, whatever. So I know my M16 better than I know my wife. Okay? So when I went out and bought my weapon and I bought my ammo, I was not going to be answering the door at midnight. I'm going to shoot through that door. And when I go to the other side of that door, anything on my property was going to be shot just the way I would do it if I was in the Marines in a combat zone. Take down everything and then examine what you took down. And so I put the M16 right next to my bed in the corner with the ammo fully loaded and 4 or 5 magazines of 20 rounds each, ready to say when I go out, I'm going out with a red hot barrel. I may not win, but I'm not going alone. And that's what I was talking about. If you have to live in that kind of situation, it's better to say, do I want to kill these people or do I want to get a plane ticket and a passport and go out of the country? And I
Exactly.
chose to protect my family to say my wife and children would probably get killed in any gun battle there. So it's better for me to just go back to her country and start over. And that's why I'm in the
Okay.
Philippines.
Oh, nice. This
You know what's
is,
crazy?
yeah, go ahead.
In terms of like, because Lewis was saying, Trump is he's doing a lot for the country in terms of what other presidents aren't. But when you actually live there in America and you see how like, you know, um, let's say like certain federal policies that Trump enacts can actually affect you on a local level, um, or what, or even like just things that he says, like us being black, we feel like we have a bigger target on us due to certain
Mm-hmm.
things that Trump says. So
Right.
it's 100% different when you live there versus if you're someone from another country who's looking at America, especially as being like the prime example for everything,
Mm-hmm.
especially politically. It's so hard for you to not understand what we have to go through when we live there.
That's true.
Yeah, but
Even
I'd like to say something to Lewis. I see that he's from Malaysia. I've been to
Right.
Malaysia many times in Singapore and all, and he's been to Vegas. I've lived in Vegas, and a lot of the things that he's saying, I think a person that doesn't know America well would make those statements. The one statement Lewis has in his comments is that Trump inherited debt from previous presidents. That is totally incorrect. And I think it's factual to say that most of the debt in America has today, at least half of it was from Trump's first term as president. And
Mm.
now the debt has increased under him. There's only been 2 presidents in the history of America that have decreased the debt, and one was Bill Clinton, and the other was Barack Obama. Those are the
Mm.
only 2 presidents that ever decreased the debt in America. All Republicans increase the debt. And this is not being a Democrat or Republican. I think they're both criminals. But, Lewis, you must study America much deeper and much better in order to make a statement that Trump is doing a great job. We are losing millions of jobs, millions of trade deals, and we are falling further and further behind because of a person that doesn't understand the landscape of economics. Trump has filed bankruptcy 6 times in his life, so he's no economic genius. All right.
mm, mm. And besides, just the Eastern files that just came in, I don't think somebody with a criminal record like that should be a president. I don't know what the U.S. Law, I mean, the courts are doing about that. Do you have any idea what's going on with the charges against Trump or the allegations against him, and what the law is saying about that?
It doesn't matter. He has been convicted of 34 felonies. You cannot vote for the presidency of the United States with a felony.
Mm,
But does it make sense that you can't vote for president with a felony, but you can be the president with a felony? It
mm,
makes no sense at all. And had we had a real Congress of senators and congressmen that were not corrupt, he would have
mm,
never been eligible to run. But we
mm,
have lost the Congress, and we have lost the rule of law, and we have lost the Supreme Court. All have been corrupted. Now, everything he touches, the Department of Justice, the FBI, everything has been corrupted by this administration. And so this will definitely lead to the end of America, because if they take this any further and they go to the battlefield with an unfit commander in chief, they will lose the same way Napoleon lost and all the other epic battles of history.
exactly, exactly. So let's go back to um, the ICE thing. So my question is, why ICE? Because I know that the border has been secured. There are no the rate of illegal immigrants have reduced, but it cannot actually be zero, because in every country in the world there are illegal immigrants coming in, because migration is a thing that has been since the creation of the world. People have been migrating. Wherever people don't feel comfortable or don't think that is longer productive, they will move to fertile grounds. Even the early people used to move around looking for fertile places to to cultivate their crops. But now the USA says they're going to seal the borders. Trump, he's the one that started saying, okay, we're going to build a fence. Now, they built a fence already along the Mexico US border. And why would they be releasing ICE? Because if that border security is really good, they don't have to have any issues with illegal immigrants again.
Yeah, is that directed at Julian or to me?
Uh, any of you can answer.
Yeah. We've had problems with the border for a very, very long time. But the border, again, is a issue that is basically racism. We have no
Mm,
physical border with Canada, and there are
mm,
many Canadians illegally in the United States. Um, the only dangerous parts of Mexico are the borders, which America is selling guns to the cartels there on the border in Tijuana, Nogales, and places like that. And that's where the crime is. If you go
yes.
deep into Mexico, there are no problems with crime and problems of any type. And you'll be shocked at how modern, how clean, and how orderly it is. But if you go to the borders where Texas meets Mexico and California meets Mexico, all those border towns, that's where the problems are. And that's because of the criminality of the Americans making money buying and selling drugs, buying and
Mm,
selling weapons. And
mm,
that's where the problem comes in. Without Americans buying drugs and selling weapons, we would need no border with Mexico.
mm. Okay, I would like to ask Juju. Is Juju there? I think Juju is gone. Okay. I want to ask you, uh, with your experience in the military for more than 20 years. I mean, more than 20 years, and not only that, with your experience around the world, traveling around the world for a long time, uh, I would like to ask you, do you think immigrants coming into the USA is a good thing or a bad thing?
You're talking about maybe somebody from the Philippines or wherever going to the United States?
Yeah, people from the Philippines, people from, yeah, Filipinos, for example, they come in with their expertise. They are nurses, they are house maids. They do a lot of things. Probably, uh, do you think it's a good thing for immigrants to go into this to another country?
Well, I think the United States has had great propaganda and public relations campaign telling the world how great it was. But I'll just take my wife, for example. She had never been out of the Philippines before we got married and thought America was going to be the greatest place on earth. And I told her, no, America has problems. America has homeless people. America has ghettos. America has a lot of things that you'll see anywhere in the world. And then
Right.
when we left the Philippines and we actually landed in California, took her to San Francisco, and you could see drugs everywhere, homeless everywhere. Took it to
Mm-hmm.
beautiful, wealthy San Diego. San Diego's a beautiful place.
Mm,
Thousands of homeless people, thousands
mm,
of drug problems. Took her to Las
mm-hmm.
Vegas, drug problems, homeless people.
Mm,
Every city we went to, there were thousands of people in tents living on the street. And
mm,
finally, I took her to Philadelphia, the king of all slums, Philadelphia.
mm,
Took
mm,
her to Kensington. It is world famous for open air drug market where people are
mm.
walking around with needles in their arm,
Right.
overdosing, sleeping in the street, having sex in the
Mm,
street, urinating, trash everywhere. And you can see the police walking by, making no arrests, just walking around, and lawlessness just going unstopped, unending.
yes.
She could not believe that she was in America. I said, you saw the plane ticket, you saw where we landed, you saw where we drove. We're in Philadelphia. And
Oh my
no
goodness.
politician is even addressing the problem of the people 24 hours a day, 365 days a year,
Mm.
just Sodom and Gomorrah.
Oh
And
my goodness.
no one says anything. If you ever go there, this will tell you the state of America, that this is not being addressed. This is a
Mm.
failed country, a failed nation.
Okay,
So,
before we round up, I would like Juju to come in here and say something about the current situation and what is his take. What is the future for America if it continues in the same direction? Juju, can you chip in your own contribution before we round up? We have only 4 minutes to go and focus on America and the Philippines. Juju, are you there?
Oh, my bad. I had a class that came in. What was the question?
Yeah, I mean, give what is your take on the future of America? If the situation continues like this, what is your take? What do you think America is the power changing from America to other places, or America is still the central boiling point?
I think especially when we have people like Elon Musk saying that in 10 years work will be optional. I
Mm,
think that AI is going to take over a lot of jobs. So unless you
mm,
have like a nice blue collar job that's very hard to touch, you're pretty much screwed. Um, in addition to that, I feel like cities are only going to slip further and further into more debauchery and just like Ned said, lawlessness. Um,
mm,
so if I was back home, I wouldn't want to be anywhere near a city. I would want to be 50 miles outside the nearest city. You get what I mean? Like, um,
mm,
in addition to that, I think a lot of people are going to get fed up with. I mean, the inflation is one thing, but inflation plus the high taxes is another thing. So I think people are going to finally start to be like, look, this is too much taxation, income
mm.
tax, state tax, federal tax, land tax, drink tax. You get what I mean? Gas tax.
Right,
It's just too
right.
much. I think people are going to, wake up and either like
Mm,
refuse to pay taxes or they're just going
right,
to try to, overpower the government. So I think a
right.
civil war might happen eventually. To be honest with you,
Okay. So, Luis says you need to check where is the USA debt came from. You think it was Trump, but it's not. The government think he means to say the government contracts. Okay.
Absolutely
Ned Henry
wrong.
says, okay, Luis, you need to educate yourself on the American topic. You are misinformed. Okay. Uncle Ned, can you say something about this topic?
Yeah, the debt has been there for quite a number of years. Okay, and they could show you numbers don't lie. Okay, you can go back and see where it was building, what administration went up, what administrations it went down, or whatever like that. It clearly shows every Republican administration put us further in debt. When Clinton cleared the debt, Bush took over, Bush left in debt. Then Barack Obama took over when we were going through a crash and saved us from a 1920s depression. And then he got out. And then who came in after Barack Obama? Trump. And we went
Right.
back into debt again. It can be
Mm,
shown by administration clearly who caused the debt, when it went up, when it went down, and who did it. Lewis is like many people who are misinformed about America, thinking wrong because they don't have enough understanding of the American system. And that's why he makes those wrong statements.
okay, thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining today. Thank you, Uncle Ned. And thank you, Juju, for coming. We could have continued on this topic, but our time was just 1 hour on Focus on America and the Philippines. We will be doing 3 lives a week, starting uh, starting from today. Today is Focus on America. Every Wednesday we have a Focus on America where we discuss American issues because, like it or not, America is affecting the whole world economy, and we cannot avoid that. So we will be discussing Focus on America on Wednesday, and then on a Friday we'll be discussing Focus on Asia, Philippines being the central point, and other Asian countries. And then
Almost
on
finished.
Monday, we'll be focusing on Africa. We'll be discussing Focus on Africa. So I just want to shout out to everybody that has been watching, Luis, uh, everybody, RT, all the people that have been watching from the background, and your contributions on the comment section. We greatly appreciate. And I really want to give a special thanks to Uncle Ned for joining in and then giving his wholehearted opinion on this matter, sharing his wisdom to those who are misinformed. like he said, a lot of us out here, we don't know what is going on, but you have a clear insight information about what is going on, and is very, very well appreciated, because this message will reach a lot of people and will enlighten them on the things that are going on in the United States. That being said, next week we are tuning in 8 p.m. Wednesday on Focus on America. If you're interested, please join us in the comment section. Okay, Uncle Ned.
Have a good night or
Thank you
day.
very much. Thank you very much. And I will text you on Facebook.
Okay.
Okay. Everybody have a good night. Thank you, Jojo, for joining. Good night and have a sound sleep. Bye.